temperatures are rising, the rains are falling, we're out here seeding everything, and man, I gotta tell you, this whole place is just exploding in green. This is the time that you want to start seeding. You want to start seeding, you want to start fertilizing. This early spring is absolutely perfect depending on the type of grass that you have. Full day ahead. Anyways, this is La Prima. I'll put a link to this. This is, what is this, 5 pounds? Champion perennial rye. I buy a big bag of it. I do this with all my field seeds. Normally I would put some just regular soil on top of these spots, but I don't think I need to. Look, they're just lying all over. Look over here, look. Look over here, look. Dude, they're everywhere. I'm like, if you know someone that wants turnips, tell them to come get them. Man, I'll tell you what, it has been hot today. It's not just been warm, it's actually been hot today. So what are we doing today, Doc? I'm going to talk about seeding. I have a bunch of questions coming up about seeding, so I'm going to address that issue. I'll show you how I fix pea spots on a cool season lawn, maybe talk about how we do it on a warm season. The girls are gone for a few days, so I can treat the pea spots. John's coming over today, and we are cutting everything, absolutely everything, every grass. I'm going to show you an amazing picture of this pond frontage in that cabin area. That look, it's just shocking. You got to see this. But we also are working the natural areas. I'm going up to the fields. I'm cutting the fields. If you follow me at all, you know that we put down some nitrogen up on the just cheap farm nitrogen up on the natural areas and up on the fields. We've had 2 or 3 days of just rain. We've had warmer temperatures, and let me tell you what, my Lowe's driver showed up today to deliver some mulch and some black cow compost because we're getting ready to use Dirt Booster and make some super compost in our vegetable gardens. Hit subscribe because you don't want to miss those videos. But he pulled up and he's out here all the time. He's been coming here for 2 years. He said, dude, he said, this place is the greenest I have seen ever. And that's all he does is deliveries all day. He was shocked. He was like, he knows I'm on YouTube, and he's like, okay, he started asking me questions. Okay, my lawn really looking crappy, but he was just shocked about how green this place looks. It's just exploding. And tomorrow or the next day, we got more rain moving in. So we're battling these spring rains, and every time we get a nice window, we're doing something, fertilizer, pre-emergent, whatever we're doing, we're coming out here and doing it. All right, so let's talk about, first of all, in the lawn guides, we really cover this extensively. So go to the lawn guides. I say this every time. freelawncareguide.com, and that website is Cool Season, and then there's a link at the top of that to Bermuda and Zoysia. Now, those guides have calendars, and we also talk about seeding. Whether it's a cool season, we talk about cool season, we talk about warm season seedings. Let's address cool season first. Cool season lawns are fun when it comes to seeding because you can play with them. You can seed in the spring, you can seed in the fall. Most of the time people are going to tell you that you have to seed in the fall, but that's not necessarily true. Even if 50% of your seed fails from a spring seeding because it didn't develop roots and you're going into hot weather, hey, half of it survived. It's not half of it failed, half of it survived. The other thing about cool season lawns is you can mix your seeds. So you can come out here with a fescue, with a Kentucky blue, you can put a perennial rye, you can just mix all kinds of seeds all over your lawn, and maybe one area gets a lot of shade and is going to do better with this type of grass and it will grow differently. But even in the big box stores, when you buy a lot of your seed brands, they're actually mixes. So they're actually mixes of different types. We talk about that in the lawn guide, actually blending cool season lawns. So when are you going to seed for cool season? I always say it's easiest just to do daytime temperatures. When you're consistently starting to hit that high 60s and even low 70s, perfect time for seeding your lawn. That's also a time you're going to start putting out your fertilizer. So you'll be putting down, maybe some PGF balance first and then hit it with PGF complete. You're going to start fertilizing. Again, when you start your seeding process, you should be putting down some kind of nitrogen as well too. Now let's switch over to warm season, and here's where it gets touchy. If at any point in your history your lawn had sod, I don't want you to seed. Now, I've talked about this before. If you go way back in our channels, before I even had a beard, I think, I talk about the world's worst lawn. It was my neighbor's lawn that was renting a house. They didn't have any lawn care equipment. I went over and took care of it. Their lawn was 80% weeds, but at some point in time in history, that lawn was sodded with Bermuda. I went over there, I sprayed it real strong with weed killers, and then immediately started putting down heavy fertilizer to push it. It was the right window. It was actually late spring, early summer. And within 6 weeks, all the weeds died off and that Bermuda started to grow. It started to grow. And at about 6 to 8 weeks later, they had a beautiful Bermuda lawn. Why don't you necessarily seed sod? Because there is no seed for sod. It's made out of a hybrid. And it's a very, very fine blade typically. So if you go to a big box store like Lowe's or Home Depot and buy a Bermuda seed, or online, and it's 10-15 bucks for a bag of it, it's cheap. It's probably a form of common Bermuda. Common Bermuda has a big blade, wider, thicker, and the hybrid has a finer blade, and it's going to look weird when you start to seed it. Now, I've had a lot of people say, hey doc, I made the mistake of doing that. How can I cure that? And I have to tell them, there really isn't a way to cure that. You're stuck with it, because once you get that common Bermuda mixed in with that hybrid, there's no way to kill one and the other and not kill the other. Now, there are seeds out there that replicate the look of a hybrid Bermuda lawn. So there are high-end seeds like there's, in the past we've had names like Yukon, La Prima, Blackjack, and a bunch of different names like that. And those seeds, $20 to $40 a pound is usually what it is. It's a very expensive seed, but it's expensive because it's bred for this really fine Bermuda blade. So if you have to seed, let's say you have a big tore up something and you got a big patch of dirt, then you're going to go out and find some of that high quality seed. I'll link to the ones that I'm buying, which is the La Prima, that I'm going to actually put out on the pond frontage out here. When do you seed the warm season lawns? Warm season lawns get seeded when you start to touch the 80s. That's the push zone. So you want to wait until your lawn is ready to aggressively grow. And I always say, as soon as you start to touch the 80s, that's when you're going to put out your seed. Put out your seed. And Bermuda likes the warmer temperatures. It loves warm temperatures, so don't worry about it. If you have to seed zoysia or Bermuda, you're going to wait till it gets warm. Like down at the beach house, we took that place down to dirt. We took the beach house down to complete dirt, and I planted zoysia seed down there. And within 1 year, I had an absolutely gorgeous zoysia lawn from seed. So I've been through this multiple times. This was the nastiest thing you've ever seen. It was horrible. Not only was it a junk pile, but we had to take it down to dirt, and this was just raw and nasty. We had to go through several seeding processes. We tried Bermuda, we tried zoysia. We finally ended up with the perennial rye, and we'll see if it holds up during the summer. The benefit I have out here with this is I have free water. So my irrigation runs off a shallow well. So if I have to water every day during a drought, I can come out here and water every day. Okay, so it's the next morning, and I want to talk about seeding methods. What are the seeding methods that I have found over the years that work the best? Okay, so what are some of my tips for successful seeding? Number one, the best seeding that I've ever done is when I take a scarifier. I have the cheap Sunjo scarifiers. And number one, cut your grass down short. So if you're gonna seed, cut your current grass down short. I'll explain that in a second. Number two, put out your seed and then run a scarifier over it. Then go back and put another light coat of seed and do a light raking on it, and then start watering. So why do we cut our grass short? We cut our grass short because seeds only have so much energy, and their job is to drive a root and drive up and reach the sunlight. And if you put seed down on a tall grass, it's going to be battling, and it's not going to have enough that initial energy to get that sunlight. So you want to cut your grass down short and keep it short. Keep it short. And keep it short, keep it short, keep it short until that new seed has a chance to catch up. Next, let's talk about the watering real quick. If I take a pack of seeds and I put it on the shelf, it doesn't germinate. Why? Because it's dry. Dry seeds don't germinate. So you have to be on a regimented watering schedule. I say this all the time. You have to water, water, water. You're going to put down your seed, and what you're going to do is you're going to hit it every morning, every afternoon, and every evening. And I don't care, someone's going to say something about lawn fungus. I don't care. I'm worried about my seed. I want my seed to germinate. Now, one of the tricks that I've learned is that sunset, early evening watering is probably the most important. And why is that? It's because if I water at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that water's going to evaporate probably within 30 minutes. However, if I water at night, right as that sun starts, as you can see, I've got dew on the grass out here. And that's because as the temperature drops, as dew's going to build up. Well, if I put a little bit of water, my seed's going to be wet, and it's going to stay wet 12 to 14 hours. Much better chance to germinate. And a lot of seeds, not all of them, a lot of seeds like to germinate in the darkness. They like to germinate at night anyways. So again, 3 times a day. They don't have to be long. You're not trying to water roots. You're just trying to keep that seed wet. Morning, afternoon, and night. And it's a pain, I know, but you got to stay on that watering program till you get germination. Fertilizer, let's talk about fertilizer. Seeds, new seed doesn't need a lot of fertilizer, but I do like to put down fertilizer. You can use something like a green shocker. Green shocker is fantastic for seeding because it's an instant all release. So you put down a green shocker, put out some water, it goes right into that upper layer of soil where that seed's going to germinate. Perfect fertilizer. For a little bit of a nitrogen push without being really strong. And then after, once that seed germinates, you're going to hit it, of course, with PGF Complete. Okay, this place is an absolute disaster, and I have a bird. I don't know why these birds, they won't fly out these doors. They always want to go to that upper window. Anyways, this is La Prima. I'll put a link to this. This is, what is this, 5 pounds? 5 pounds. This is 5 pounds. And I'll be putting this over on that area over there, plus doing some reseeding back over in here on that pond frontage. So it's all sealed up. I don't have to worry about it. It'll store well, keep it in a cool place. But when I buy my Champion perennial rye, I buy a big bag of it. I do this with all my field seeds too. That's a 25-pound bag. And what I'm going to do is I have these gusseted vacuum seal bags that are really nice, and it can store a lot of crap. So like I buy a big bag of turnip seed and I'll break that apart into like 5-pound bags. I buy clover seed, I break that apart in 5-pound bags, and I'm going to do the same thing here because I'm telling you, as the season goes on, there's only so much seed out there. We learned that with zoysia seed. Remember last year, if you're trying to buy zoysia seed was sold out. I mean, nationally, you couldn't get it. It was bad. So anyways, let me cut this open and I'll seal some of this up. It's a busy farm day today. We're cutting all the fields and we're cutting all the grass. Doesn't that look great? So this is that natural area back here. It's a mix of clovers and rye and weeds. And I put down that nitrogen back here. Man, just this whole place. My Lowe's driver showed up and he says, man, you got the only green grass around. This whole place is absolutely green. Yes, I wanted you to cut the pond too. He didn't realize I wanted to try the pond, the zero turn on the pond. But look at that over there, man. I mean, that looks like a lawn now. Man, that looks so good. Yeah, the only thing is we got to get some dirt eventually and fill this in, but man, that looks really good over there. Now this pond front out here was, when we bought this place, was a junk pile. It was horrible. We took it down to raw dirt. And what you're seeing now, this is annual ryegrass with dormant Bermuda underneath it. But today, for the first time, I had John bring his zero turn out here. We're trying to get it to the point where we can cut it with a zero turn. But I want you to look down there. Look how big this lawn is now. So that area was all woods. It was all woods. And look at it. Isn't that crazy? That is just nuts now, man. So what is this? This is a mix. This is annual rye, clovers, weeds. Actually has turnips. We have turnips in here still, but eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and put down that Bermuda seed I have. I'm going to put it here because I don't have irrigation on this, and I need something that will be heat and drought tolerant. So I got to get a Bermuda down here on top of this. It's fine now because it's a cool season, annual rye mixes in here, but I have to get some Bermuda down in here. Otherwise this will just all die off. Okay, so I told you I'd talk about pea spots real quick, so let's talk about it. My whole lawn looks great except for right here. And why is that? That's because when we let the girls out in the morning and let the girls out at night, they go pee right here. So I have burned pea spots right here. How do I fix that with cool season? It's actually really simple. I take a shovel and I just chop that area up a little bit. I put some seed down, I chop it up a little bit more, and then I always keep a bag of like potting soil. Just take a little bit of potting soil, put it on and water it, boom, it'll grow right back. That's the only way to cure this, is you have to go out and fix those pea spots with new seed on a cool season grass. How about a warm season grass? On a warm season grass, it's a lot tougher. If you have a lot of pea spots, again, take a shovel, just punch a couple holes in it and flush it with water, flush it with water, flush it with water. Then if you want to, you can actually go steal the little runners that are on your sidewalks, those little stolons. You take those stolons and you can take a screwdriver and you can punch those into those spots, and they'll actually grow roots and they'll actually fill in those spots. It's really hard on a warm season grass to actually cure pea spots. Obviously having your dog pee somewhere else is smarter, but for us, I mean, we built this for the girls. I mean, we have a fenced in area. This is actually for the girls, for them to go pee and poo. I just happen to have a really nice lawn here too. Remember, it's not pH. pH is not the issue with pea. It's the fact that the pea turns into, basically, it converts into really strong nitrogen, and it's like taking a handful of fertilizer and dumping a handful of fertilizer. One of the old lawns of my neighbors, they had dogs, and you could actually see dark green spots in their lawn. And sometimes you get a dark green spot, sometimes you'll actually get a burn spot. Pea spots really happen when it's dry because it concentrates out. When you're getting a lot of rain, you'll see them less, but that's how I handle it. I just keep some seed around. That's why I like to bag up some extra seed. Put down some seed, put some dirt over it, and that cures it. Anyways, I'm just going to put up some stuff about the field cutting. We are seeding everything out here. I'm getting it on clover. You know I'm a huge fan of clover. We're getting ready to build some dirt booster super compost piles up here for the garden. We're going to be working that garden probably in the next couple weeks, so make sure you hit subscribe and I'll show you those videos. Okay, so let me explain what I'm doing up in these fields. I'm actually just taking these down to a manageable amount because I don't want this rye, this cereal rye, choking out my clover. My clover is my main crop that I want here. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm taking them down, probably down to about, what, 8 inches? And then what I'll probably do is I'll probably come back in here with some clover seed. But you know, one of the things I talk about when we start talking about preparedness and being prepared, I always talk about taking purple top turnip and throwing it anywhere that you have land. Look at this. There are literally thousands of these things out here. You can eat the greens and you can eat the turnip. I mean, you can't take a step. Look at this. You can't take a step without, they're everywhere. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? Absolutely crazy. I have to tell John to come pick up some of these and take them to his uncle. His uncle actually likes them. Is this the greenest place you've seen? This is crazy, dude. Everywhere.
Look great though.
But I was just telling him, I said, dude, do you know someone that wants turnips? Look. Look. They're just lying all over. Look over here, look. Look over here, look. Dude, they're everywhere. I'm like, if you know someone that wants turnips, tell them to come get them. I mean, there's literally, look, just look. There's thousands and thousands in these fields. So I told John, probably in about a month or so, I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna run down the beach house and I'm gonna train him how to cut these fields, because these are now so thick and lush. I mean, dude, last year we were working with dirt. This was just raw dirt. We couldn't get anything to grow. And man, now, I'm telling you, that subsoiler that we did out here with David, you know, that one you picked up at Tractor Supply? We ran a subsoiler through these fields, and man, it's made a huge difference. But just keep putting down seed and putting down seed. We put down so much seed on these fields trying to just get anything to grow, and finally, boom, it's taken. This is amazing. It really is absolutely amazing. All these fields, even that cornfield up there, that was dirt. So basically what I'm doing is I'm cutting this down. The deer and the wildlife like new growth. They like that fresh growth. So when I cut this down, man, they will be in here tonight. I guarantee it. They will be all over this field. Okay, so here's the house, and this is what I call my natural area back here. And I call it a natural area because, yes, it does have grass in it, but it also has clover, has weeds. Whatever will grow, we let grow. But we try and force a lot of grass. I came out here in my last video, I talked about this cheap farm fertilizer that I put down here and on the fields, and man, this is absolutely crazy. It looks gorgeous, but you can see it's not all grass. Look at all the clover. So now I'm gonna walking my butt off today. I'll walk up and show you these fields. So under this tarp, I've got some mulch for the gardens, the house gardens, and I've got black cow compost. We're getting ready to make super compost piles for the vegetable garden. Make sure you subscribe. We do this every year. We don't use fertilizers in our vegetable garden. All we use is Dirt Booster Plus and super compost. Gosh almighty, it's a long walk. But man, look at these fields. Aren't these gorgeous? So I finally came through here with my cutter and cut these things. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep this cereal rye from choking out my clover. But man, you talk about diversity. Isn't that crazy? That is just crazy. Clovers, ryegrass, turnips, all kinds of stuff. And you wonder why I have 30 to 80 deer coming in here every single night in these fields. It's just absolutely insane. So next week we will be up here making Dirt Booster compost piles, and we'll probably start that process because this is our 7,000 square foot vegetable garden. We'll get this ready. We probably won't even have to do any tilling. We're just going to top dress it and plant this year. The orchard looks good. I can see flowers on my peach trees already. Let's hope we don't get any hard freezes. Woo! So it's been a long couple days. I figured I'd just throw stuff up on video for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We're about to have some rain move in this afternoon and tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. But man, this place is just exploding. I'll talk to you later. Doc.